Hi, I'm Senator Nathan Johnson. It is Whiteboard Wednesday. I want to talk to you today about property taxes and school finance and how they're related and how we can address some of the problems we've been facing. First of all, we got to understand how schools are funded in Texas. Let's say there's a certain amount of money it takes to fund schools. Ignore the graph for now because we're just going to do some pictures. This is a bucket. That's how much money we need to fund the schools, and we're going to have to fill it. And we fill it with two sources. We do it with general revenue and with local property taxes. These are the pitchers that we're going to pour into not a very good picture, but you get the idea. We're going to use these pitchers to fill up the property tax bucket. The way the school funding formula works, you first have to collect all your property taxes from your local tax dollars, from homeowners, from business owners, and pour that pitcher into the bucket. And whatever remains to be filled has got to come from general revenue. So if you only get about a third full with the property tax revenues, the state's got to kick in the other 2/3. That's the rule, that's the formula, that's how it works. The problem is property taxes have risen over time. Property values have risen over time, so taxes correspondingly rose, and the state controls it. The state doesn't really give independent school districts room to adjust their property taxes without losing funding, so that as your property values rise, could they lower your tax rate and get the same level? Yes, theoretically, but in fact, the way it works, no. As a result, the property tax dollars keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, until finally, we're now up here where most of the bucket is getting filled up with local property taxes, and general revenue only takes up the last bit of it. That's a problem. That's the problem we're seeking to address, because your property taxes, your property values are going to continue to go up. Let's take a look at the graph now and see how this works and what it means for policy. Cap already off so we can draw it fast. Here's the cost of educating our students, public education finance, going up at about that rate. It goes up, not all that rapidly, because we don't increase it that rapidly. Let's just say this is the graph depicting that. This is time, this is money. It's all about time and money, folks. If this is the rate of school costs increasing over time, here's the rate of your property increasing over time. Okay, we see the problem here? This is your local property tax going up over here. Let's look at this snapshot in time. About half of this value came from, remember the first part, the first pitcher we pour in there is your local property tax. And the rest of this money comes from general revenue, about 50-50. But as we move up the curve, these big boxes are really correspond to those buckets, so I'll make it a tall bucket. How's that? As you can see, as the property tax revenue line goes up, the amount that comes from your property taxes, this area down here, gets bigger. And the volume that comes from general revenue, of course, because the formula works that way, we've already filled the bucket up 2/3, is going to be less. As we get all the way out here, bucket's pretty much filled up 100% with your property tax revenue. That is unacceptable, unconstitutional, and unsustainable. So we're fixing it. One way that's been offered to fix it is to slow the rate of your property tax growth by putting a cap on the amount of revenue that school districts can collect. What will that do? It'll give us a new line, but it's still going up because there's a cap on the increase. So this line, it's still an upward curve. It's just a slower upward curve. But you can see that over time, you still are facing the same problem, just to a smaller degree. Maybe you're not at 100% this year, maybe 100% moves further out, but you still have that going up. So what can we do to make it so that you don't face an ever-increasing proportion of our school costs being paid by homeowners and business owners through the property taxes? Easy. Back here in 2008, when we were somewhere around 2008, we were somewhere around 50-50 with the property tax, even with our cool little graph here. If we just fixed it at 50% over time, we could have, let's see, what's half of this? It's about there. What's half of this? It's about there. What's half of this? It's about there. It's about here. We have this stair stepping here so that you're never paying more than half. No matter how fast this line goes up, back to our blue line, and this blue line can go up like that. It doesn't matter. If your property taxes are up here, you're still only paying this much out of your property tax into the schools. So what do we do with all this stuff? Your property values have gone up, your property taxes are out of control. That's between you and your local school board. They can lower your tax rate. Because we've made the state commit to this, no longer we can fix that school funding formula. We're no longer looking to the property taxes first, so that all this room up here, this is where your tax rates can come down. This graph doesn't have to go up. When those tax rates come down, this graph could come down with it. Again, those are local tax rates. Maybe you have more tax money come in and you want to do something else in your schools, or maybe you want to cut the rate. But either way, your obligation is half. The first half. There, we fixed it. All we got to do now is make sure that the state continues to fund the schools. Then we've got a great education system and property tax relief. Thanks for tuning in.